Naz. Before we start, can I know what is your name?
My name is Abdullah bin Abdul Shukur. I'm a first year medical student from University Malaya.
My name is Ziyad Iman, also one of the first years in University Malaya.
My name is Naz. I'm a first year medical student at UM.
I'm Marie, and I'm also a first year medical student in University Malaya.
I'm Sodhi Ganesh, a first year medical student in University of Malaya.
I am filling in for my friend Rick, who's also a first year medical student from University of Malaya.
Do you guys usually study every day?
Yeah.
I think when you enter med school, consistency is like the most important thing because you have tons and tons of information to go through. So for me, I have this regime in which every day you should at least have at least an hour or two of studying, and it doesn't matter what you study as long as you study.
I try my best to study every day, but not doing that is also not a bad thing. Make sure that you understand what you're learning.
So for me, I try to study every day because I always fear that everything is just going to accumulate and then nearer to the exams I'll stress out.
I usually study every day because I believe in consistency. I don't usually go by how many hours did I study. I'll probably go by the amount of lecture notes I'm going to cover that day.
Rick usually tries to study whenever he has the time to do so, but because he's involved in a lot of extracurricular activities, he doesn't usually have the time to read through one entire lecture note at one point in time, but he would usually spend about 2 hours every day to study.
I guess my study method is kind of weird and it's a bit unorthodox, I guess, because usually people have study schedules and they plan what they want to study, but I never plan what I want to study. I never plan what I want to study. I usually study things that I think I don't understand, and if I feel I have enough knowledge of that, then I just go with it.
For me, I typically study whenever I have free time. I schedule which topics I want to complete and understand first and foremost, and then I follow that schedule.
For me, I usually don't make notes for all of my subjects. I just prioritize subjects that are like a lot. So basically, I do notes for like anatomy. I'm a visual kind of person. So when I read lecture notes, I memorize like where is the position of that information. So when I do like anatomy notes, I basically like jumble everything up in one paper. I make sure that everything is as simple as possible because I need like a trigger to make sure that I memorize things. So when I write anatomy notes, I do all the muscles, nerves, innervation, origin, insertion, all in one page, but then different colors, like the arterial supply you put red, or like nerves you put yellow, so like everything is in one page.
So for me, my notes differ depending on the subject. So for pharmacology, I made a mind map for everything that was in pharmacology, so that all of my notes are in like one place. Especially for the drugs, like the different types of drugs, I put them all in like one mind map so that it's easier for me to find the information. But for things like anatomy, I do more linear notes, so like origin, insertion, so just like read, I color code it as well, and I include like the functions of the muscles. And for more content heavy subjects like molecular medicine, right, I try to follow the spaced repetition method. So I make a Google Docs where every single thing that I learn, or like whatever the learning objectives are, right, I convert it to a question. And I'll include the answers as well. So it will be in sequence with the lecture notes. So yeah, it's in chronological order. And then I go through those questions.
How do you study your lecture notes?
I think out of all the study materials that you have, the lecture notes are the most important. I guess the most important thing about the lecture notes is all the small details now. These are some of the things that might come out during exams. So before RSA, what I did was go through each and every page of the lecture notes.
I agree, yeah. Lecture notes is very important, but then after our first exam, there are two things I realized that we can't rely entirely on lecture notes. We have to go through other sources, yeah. And the other one is, you should really listen to what the lecturer says in the lecture. Because sometimes they add in a few bits and pieces that are not in the lecture notes but came out in the exam. And some of us learn it the hard way during the exam.
I think the most important thing with lecture notes is you have to come to the lecture. You can't study the lecture notes without going to the lecture.
True. We are constricted by time. And our doctor YouTuber said the best students are the ones that can attain the most information in the shortest amount of time. So that's something to live by.
So for me, pre-reading definitely helps because I kind of have an overview of like what's going on. During the lecture, I try to focus as much as possible. Sleeping early really helps. Sleeping for like 7 hours at least really helps so that you can focus. I also usually color code my lecture notes. So purple for me is like my normal notes. Black is additional information. Blue is clinically relevant information. Light green is questions that I have for the lecturer. And dark green is possible questions that might come up during the exam. And red is like extremely important information.
For me, that's really organized. But so for lectures, I have quite trouble focusing during lectures. So basically, I just record and then go back to listen back. And when I'm really studying, so I won't miss anything out. So basically, I'll just write down notes while listening to the recording that I hear.
To add on to Corinne's point, I also record my lectures, and when there is a certain part of the lecture where I feel like I've lost focus or I don't really understand, then I'll write down the timing. So like if it's at 6 minutes and 30 seconds, I'll just say listen to 6 minutes and 30 seconds and I'll go back and listen to that part.
Okay, so I'll just listen to the lecture. I don't believe in taking notes during the lecture because for me it's very distracting. I'll probably just highlight important things like when the lecturer points out like this is important. I do like record lectures in case there are like important things pointed out by the lecturer and I forgot to record them or I fell asleep in lecture. So yeah.
Honestly, there's no such thing as a light content subject in medicine. Back in school, before you had your exams, it's still okay for you to do everything last minute and absorb everything. But here in med school, it doesn't work that way. I think if you're the type to not write notes, then maybe this is the time for you to start writing notes. When it comes to subjects that have processes, like for example, adaptive immunity, which consists of a lot of steps, it's good for you to maybe do mind maps. So that later before an exam or before a class, instead of reading a huge chunk of information from one lecture note, you can just go through your mind map. And then for subjects like anatomy, the most important thing is to use your imagination.
I think you have to have interest in the things you study. Like Zayed said, anatomy, the best way to study is through visual. This is where we use our atlases, this is where we go to our anatomy labs to look at and feel the muscles and the anatomy that we're learning.
Yeah. Also, one good thing that you can do is to have your own mnemonics. Before exams, when we were studying upper limb, we had like this one song specifically for the muscles and the functions. So I guess if you are able to have your own mnemonics, it takes away some of the burden of studying such a huge chunk of information.
The top few things that I found really helpful were studying every day. Consistency is extremely important, especially with such a content-heavy subject like medicine. I always try to pre-read the lecture notes and review the lecture notes if I don't understand anything. I just try to keep up with the workload.
So I'll be more like specific with a few subjects. For like anatomy, the way I study is by watching first videos, so I can get like an overview, and then you write down important things that you want to know from that video, and then you read lecture notes or like other additional books that you think that are good for you. I use Netter's Anatomy, Netter's Atlas. I think that's a very good book because like it has everything all in one small book, so you can just carry that book anywhere. For like immunology, I think it's very important for us medical students to grasp the most basic concepts first, and then you go deeper on like the details in immunology.
One of the top few things that has helped me to keep up with the medical school content is, it might be an unpopular opinion, but I don't go after extra knowledge at this point because the questions asked in the exam are purely based on the lecture notes. So I feel like your lecture notes are more than enough for you to cover the syllabus, because if at this point, you get your huge medical books and all that, there'll be like too much information which will make it feel like the content is heavy, but actually it's not. So just stick to the lecture notes, they are more than enough for you to cover the syllabus.
Are there any resources that you use when you don't understand?
Okay, so when it comes to subjects like physiology, molecular medicine, immunology too, the key to mastering these subjects is to understand the big picture. Let's say there are some things that I don't understand even after reading through the lecture notes. So usually I read a few articles on Google Scholar, or I'll go to YouTube. There are a lot of YouTube channels that create graphic videos to explain medical content in a very easy way. So that's helpful too.
for watching. I hope you guys found this video helpful. These tips really helped us medical students do well for our recent RSA, our recent exam, and we hope that it helps you guys in your exams as well. All the best in your studies, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Till next time, bye!